Rolling. Julia Wright. Welcome to the Strange Grooves podcast.
Took you long enough.
I know.
Yeah, over 5 years.
5 years,
I'm very
literally.
sorry. I didn't mean to not have you in the studio for that long. How are things with you?
I love being here. This is an awesome setup that you guys have.
You've been a very highly requested guest, and obviously as a pal and bud, like we've wanted to have you on the show, but I guess we always save the best.
Save the best for last. Well,
last.
We wanted to give you the full experience, so you're here. I'm glad that you're kind of here in a way because you get to have the proper setup. You're a
Not
CBC host. We wanted to like
half-assed
impress,
I'm impressed.
Yeah,
We're trying.
We're trying.
We got Rode mics, guys. Oh my goodness.
Super sexy, super
Sounds
slick.
amazing. Actually, these headphones are nicer than mine.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Oh,
Yeah,
budget
they-
cuts, you know?
Yeah, it's hard times in the Maritimes, man.
I have that on the list too.
Oh,
Interesting.
sweet.
Oh, yes, we'll definitely be chatting about that.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us for episode 129 of the Strange Grooves podcast.
God damn, 129.
I know, it's kind of crazy. We're in the studio. It's a Wednesday night. It was a bit snowy, but we're here with Julia. Finally, I love how every month, like, we'll get like multiple requests. Like, when's Julia going to be on? How come Julia hasn't been on?
I'd like to know
Oh,
who
you guys were on
requested me.
CBC. How come Julia wasn't on your podcast first?
Can you tell me one person who requested me?
No,
No?
no, it's confidential. It's strictly
We
confidential.
protect our sources,
That
Julia.
makes sense.
most of all of our friends. Though. It's most of all of our mutual friends.
Oh,
Yes,
cool.
yeah,
All right.
no.
Right? Like,
Well, thanks to everyone
music
who requested
crew.
me.
Yeah, like, you know, just because you're always a big supporter of music and people in the community and just bands and artists. So of course people want to hear what you're up to, what you're listening to, your stories. Like, you're a major component of the music scene in my world. Like, I mean, the last 15 years you've been at every show. Like,
I
straight up.
try. I mean,
Sometimes I just cringe when I see some pictures from like some of like the old spaces and I'm just like, oh goodness.
yeah,
and
like that
luckily,
was
like,
a hole.
Yeah, luckily I lost everything I owned when I was like 16, so a lot of my old photos and things like that are gone. So
There are some photos kicking around that I'm shocked exist that were taken with disposable cameras
Right.
at venues like the
Yeah,
Deep
yeah.
End in the Chinese Cultural Center back
Right.
when it was the Knights of Columbus. Like,
Oh,
do you
yeah.
remember those days?
I
Anyway,
do, yeah.
embarrassing. But also
Embarrassing
cool.
times.
There is
Embarrassing
evidence.
times. But good times though.
Right. Yeah. No, I was not present at any of them. I was like I did go to local shows, but I feel like I was like half a generation behind you guys.
Yeah, that's
Little bit.
okay.
You're just a youngin'.
I was just a youngin'.
You still are.
Yeah, I guess.
Young buck.
Yeah.
Young
Young grasshopper.
Oh my goodness.
So I guess on that topic, I guess a good place to start, Julia, is can you tell us a little bit about sort of your relationship with music? What did you grow up listening to? And perhaps, you know, we just talked about, you know, live shows. When did you start going to live I can talk, I swear. Live local shows. This is why I can't host
shows.
Information Morning.
Everybody say it. Live local shows.
Live local
You
shows.
got it.
There you
Okay,
go.
the first show I remember ever going to was AV and Gary Flanagan at the Deep End, which was an all-ages venue on on Canterbury Street. And like in the John Law building, Raven Blue ran it. And at that point, I was a little punk and I loved just like hanging out uptown and like trying to catch some live music, which was incredibly rare, you know, to have stuff that you could actually go to at that age, at age 15. Yeah. And like Phil who's now Jaguar Knight in Shrimp Ring, was AV at that point and playing keyboard tunes and doing like synth 80s inspired dance music. And Gary Flanagan, who's still around and recording as well, was doing like keyboard beats and like it was just like very retro and very lo-fi and incredible. You know, it was amazing. And
That's so cool.
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, I always loved going out and like dancing and, you know, meeting my little friends and wearing your coolest outfits.
I love doing that too.
Yeah, I still do that.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's fun, right? You gotta choose wisely the things you go out to as an adult now, right? Don't only so much bandwidth. Got to wear the cool coats and the fun pants whenever you get a chance.
Yeah, very selective when I leave the house these days.
Yeah,
Me too, because like
I know because I hear you.
But I mean, for folks who don't know, I am the host of a radio show that starts super early in the morning now. So those all ages shows that start at 7:00, that's my jam again.
Yeah.
It comes full circle.
So if you're listening, hold earlier shows. People love them. Nobody wants to go out at 11 or 12 o'clock at night. And if the youngins do, well, it's chapter 2 for that part of the show. 2 gigs. 2 separate. Man, when they sell out, Steve-O did it.
Mm-hmm, true.
Sold out the first 7 o'clock show. They did a 10 o'clock show. Maybe that's what you got to do. Right? It's all about evolving your strategy. Right?
Yeah.
Tailored to the demographic. Give the people what they want. snacks, and earlier show times.
Yeah, so that was like my first show ever. But I mean, there's also like a jazz cafe thing called Night Train that used to happen at the St. John Arts Center.
Remember that?
Yeah, like then like a lot of those artists went on to have careers in music in Montreal. Like Chris Durning and Matt Higgins played for years together after debuting as high school students there. I mean, St. John has always had a crazy punch above its weight music scene.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'd say we have, talent here that probably roll with the punches just as high as any, Hollywood kind of chart topping artist right now. Like,
Agreed.
Like look at Stephen Hero, for example.
100%.
Anyways.
He's owning the St. John identity.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I love it. It's very authentic,
love what he's
very
doing.
chill. He's a hustler. I love his work ethic.
Like when we were kids, you wouldn't be caught dead talking about taking the bus and hanging out by a dumpster, smoking cigarettes and working at a restaurant. That was what we were trying to avoid owning. Right. We wanted to be urban, like we wanted to be like New York kids or Montreal kids or something. And now it's like all that stuff that I ran from and like wanted to sort of pretend that wasn't my background. Right. Everyone's just owning it. Like
you're right on that.
Yeah, it's cool. East Coast lifestyle.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I always appreciated something you said, Julia. And I don't think I ever told you this, but there was an event a while ago. This was years ago. I think it was like 2015, around 2015. I forget what it was called, but it was at the BMO Theater. And you gave a speech. And you kind of talked about, that St. John identity. And one of the things you said always stuck with me. It was like, if our best and brightest are leaving, what does that make us? And
we're the leftovers.
You're the leftovers. And I was just like, I don't know. I thought that always stuck with me and resonated with me because it's like this idea. And I think it's so ingrained, especially not just in St. John, but New Brunswick and the Maritimes, that we're always got to look elsewhere and we're always on the go, like go west, right?
People still ask me that. Like,
all the time. Same.
Oh, we're going to lose you. They're going to snap you up in Toronto. People still say that. And I'm like, why would you ever think that that's what I wanted? What have I ever done or said that would make you think that that was the goal? Because like I
think I know where it comes from. It comes from a sense of being proud of your abilities and your skills. So they think, well, of course you would be destined to go somewhere else or other places would be more taught. We're taught to feel that way necessarily even just living here. Yeah. Right. And I think that's where it comes from. It comes from a place of them being humble, but it comes across the wrong way.
My journey is to a different destination.
Yeah.
And I think it's here.
Yeah. I love it here. I'll never leave. I always say it's my, my little big town. And, if you want to go other places for a couple months or even just to travel, it's nice, but it's always really good to come home. Yeah. And economically, it's nice to be here too right now. So
everyone wants to be us now.
Yeah, it's true. So it's sort of like it's been that shift being like, we're like the people that were here being like, we're cool, we swear.
And like the mean girls, like everybody wants to be us.
But now we're actually like, we are cool.
But actually, guys,
but we are cool.
Get the memo. We're cool. So,
so it's kind of cool.
Look, the dead smizing.
But to see that shift over the last several years, it's really cool to see. And of course, there's still like we think, oh, there's so much growth in St. John, and then you go to like a Halifax or a Toronto, being like, oh yeah, we're still small as fuck, but like we're also. But there has been a lot of growth, more than I think the city's seen in a while, especially not just like economically, but in arts and culture too. So
yeah, like the fact that we have a recording label here in the South End, or that there is a new music venue, an all ages music venue opening up on Union Street. Like those are things that I didn't really think were possible probably 10 years ago.
Yeah, I definitely feel the same way. And I think too, like I never would have expected it to be a destination for people to start businesses or have, recording studios or, for people to move here as a result of those opportunities. But I love seeing what's happening. Like, I mean, even like when we met Paul Milner, for example, that was such a great connection to have. But then all the different people that he was working with, from like kids' schools, Maestro Fresh West, James Mullinger, local bands like McKinley Morrison, like it really feeds that ecosystem. And then people are attracted to what's going on here. And so like you said, everybody kind of wants to know like what's going on. What are they up to?
You said Stephen Hero's a hustler. Maestro is a hustler.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. He does it all. He hosts radio shows. He hosts reality TV shows about sandcastles. He has a cooking show.
Yep.
Like he is recording kids albums. Like the guy is a dynamo.
He's kind of like the hip hop James Mullinger.
Has he been on the show yet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, he has been.
And
with Steven
actually,
Hero.
he will be. They'll be coming on for a part 2 in the next couple months.
Oh my God.
Yeah, because like,
Cool.
so the really fun thing, with them is that I've known Matt,
Steve, Dave.
right?
Yeah.
For 20 years, and we were joking a few weeks ago when we were at the cooking show launch. And I was watching him watch himself up on the screen, and, Wes and all of his friends and dignitaries, the mayor, everybody's there. And I reached over to Matt and I said, do you remember like us smoking darts, like in my Mecklenburg apartment? Minimum wage was like $6.10. I worked at Giant Tiger.
You worked at Giant Tiger? I worked at the Waterloo Street Tim Hortons.
I did. Well, see, look at that. Would you just look at that? Up and coming, right? And we still haven't gone to Toronto or Vancouver, guys, right? But I said to him, isn't it fucking wild sometimes to kind of see what those connections have done? And that's kind of what happened. Our time with Steven Hero on the podcast, and then meeting Maestro, we got them connected. Then they were able to start recording together and share those opportunities. And I really find that's been what St. John's kind of given to me and a lot of the musicians around here. And from the music perspective, is it's really full circle, and people don't mind rolling their sleeves up to help each other. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what makes it really attractive to come and be here or to produce here, regardless of your industry. But anyways.
Agreed.
Yeah. I mean, if you don't help people out, and if you don't treat everyone in the community with as much respect as you can muster, even when you disagree with them, you're not going to last very long here.
Yeah.
You're going to get burnt out and feel awkward, and like you can't function here, and you are going to move. I think yeah. That sense of community is key to your success here. I hope everyone who's moving here realizes that.
It's true. I like my boyfriend, he moved before the pandemic from Ontario. He wasn't one of those Ontario people, but
he was into it before it was
cool. In before it was cool. And it's one of the things that he's commented on over time, being like, it seems like, he's been, getting into applying for jobs and industry and finding support. It's like, it's who you got to know someone, or like the job goes to someone who knows someone like on the team.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, yeah, that's sort of the way it's done around here. And like great for people that are from here and you have a good network, but I can see it being a struggle for people that wasn't the norm for them.
We have privilege. We all benefit from genre privilege.
Yeah.
Because we've either been here long enough or we grew up here or whatever that we can avail ourselves of all those connections. But I think that it's a responsibility if you have that you have to build bridges with people that are new here too, and kind of bring them into the fold. So that's why I see you guys doing it, and that's what I try to do too with my creative work and my work. Bring people into the fold.
And, I don't think it really matters how introverted you are or extroverted you are. If you have something that you need or want or have to get done, straight up reach out to the people that are doing it better than you or just as good or can help you, or go to those events that those people are at, or go to those shows where people are also performing who might need additional bands on those bills. And it just takes a minute to say hi, or if you're, a little bit nervous, like reach out on Instagram, send a DM. But I think like that's what I mean when I say rolling up your sleeves. Even if you're new, or, if you've, been here your whole life and maybe you've just never applied the potential that you maybe just started to feel, it's a great way to do it. Just reach out to someone that, I don't know, you think is kind of vibes with you, and just be like, hey, where can we play a show? Where can I run? Do you like Primus?
Running, I'm going to explain this if people are like watching it.
Explain your outfit. Let's
okay,
check.
So it's so snowy and rainy out there right now, and I was like, I got some time to kill before I come on the podcast. I'm gonna go like run around. So I went down Lower Cove Loop. I went up Carmarthen Street, down Mecklenburg, just kind of this chaotic running route, and then I forgot my clothes. So I'm wearing a sweaty running clothes. Thanks guys for being so close to me right now.
No,
we're
good. I'm just blown
I know
away
you're
that
good.
You
I'm just kind of embarrassed that that's what happened.
No, I'm embarrassed that I don't run.
Yeah, like
I'm just like, you had a couple minutes to kill and you went running around the loop. Okay.
I haven't left the house in 2 days.
I know. Well, actually, I running is when I listen to most of my music.
Right? Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's kind of when I am, exploring new stuff, or I listen to the tracks that Peter Rowan sends me for his music column on my show. Or I'm just, pick a track and then radio on Spotify and discover some new music. So
what have you been listening to lately? What has done?
Lately I've been listening to, there's this YouTube show called Chicken Shop Date, and it's from the UK, and it's this, the premise is that this girl who is incredibly sardonic and like kind of low-key takes various music artists and celebrities on a chicken shop date.
Amelia.
Yeah, Amelia, unpronounceable, Dibble, Borgin, or something.
Don't jiggle, jiggle.
Yeah,
she
yeah.
Was one that
She did all the way through. Yeah.
She's really popular on TikTok.
Super popular on TikTok, and an incredible interviewer. She is literally, she's so dry and so committed to the bit, and she does phenomenal interviews where she completely takes these guys who have women falling all over them constantly.
Oh, yeah,
and
I love
nags them, and just is completely deadpan and gives them nothing, and they love it. They eat it up.
do.
They're falling in love with her, and the premise is that they're on a date, but it's just an interview about their music. Anyway, she interviewed this guy. He's a rapper from the UK named Artie.
I've seen that, actually.
Yeah. And he's 18, and he's so nervous, and he's like drinking. She's completely sober. He's like pounding Carlsberg. He can't handle it. He can't handle how awkward this is. But she's asking excellent questions. But I was like, who is this guy? Because I'm kind of just curious about who she's talking to. It's a lot of artists I've never heard of, and
you know they're a little bit more qualified if they've been put through that kind of realm, or at least
she's done
for
Ed
a
Sheeran,
reason, right?
like she's done some big names, and not that Ed Sheeran's amazing, but I mean, you know, she's legit. But anyway, Artie's got this new song called "Hello Mate." And it's like a really cool sample, and anyway, it's not my normal jam, but I have been really liking it while I'm running. Yeah. And there's another guy named Haitch that is another UK rapper that she interviewed. I was listening to some stuff by him tonight too. So
we'll be linking this insane playlist in the blog, because I'm gonna have to listen to all these again.
Yeah, do you have a playlist you can send us?
Yeah, I do.
If not, we'll make one.
It's called Running 2.0, and any song that I come across and I'm like, ooh, this is good. I'm really liking this. I just add it to this incredibly bizarre
Mine
playlist.
would likely just be Dracula by Rob Zombie. But I did, you know what I found the other day? It was Justice, Funky Town, and Dracula together. And it was the best 3 minutes of my life. Like, I was like, I had serotonin. Christ. I was like, wow, this is the best thing that's ever been made. So I'll send it to y'all.
Oh, great. Yeah, no, thank you. I appreciate that.
You want to know the most embarrassing thing that's on this playlist?
What?
Ashley McIsaac.
That's not even bad.
That's not bad.
Okay. Like, what else is embarrassing? Should I grab my phone? No, I'll send.
I don't even know if there can be anything that is embarrassing anymore, because people just do a callback to it, right?
Yeah, we're post embarrassment. Hopefully, you know, but I don't know. My tastes are so all over the place. It's impossible. I'm sure everyone says that who comes on the show, but I listen to all genres. It's really kind of CBC's influence, maybe.
Best concert you'd ever gone to?
Oh man, the one that kind of I go back to all the time is so the first concert that I went to on my own steam was that AV and Gary Flanagan concert that I talked about. But my very, very first concert ever when I was a little kid was with my mom, and we went to see Steppenwolf, Pat Benatar, and Peter Frampton in Moncton.
That's awesome.
You saw Steppenwolf?
Yeah, I saw Magic Carpet Ride live.
They're one of my favorite bands of all time.
Yeah, I mean they came to Moncton and like it was Rockfest. It was this huge concert, and we were 12. My sister and I were 12.
Oh my god, that's fucking
People
awesome.
were handing us joints.
Yeah, that's sweet.
Mom was like, "Put that down. Get out of there."
It to me.
Yeah, but that.
Oh man, that's awesome.
It was formative, you know. It kind of like gave me a sense of what being in a huge crowd like that felt like, and what seeing a huge band that everyone was so amped to see. That was formative, you know. It gave me a sense of that energy that comes with live music.
Right.
It's irreplaceable, you know.
Have you traveled to see a favorite band or see live music?
Yeah, I mean, I went to see Tori Amos when I was 17 at the Centre Bell. Most recently, I went to see Alt J, also in Montreal. That was just like within the past year.
Oh, that's awesome.
I was just feeling Alt J. I don't know. I was like, I like their looping kind of technology that they use, and it's kind of early 2000s vibes. But it was a great concert. Yeah, it was awesome. It'd been a while since I'd been out, so.
Yeah, Montreal's great that way, because sometimes there'll be a lot of artists that are touring through as well, like from the States, that will have a little gig there. So if you do find them somehow, like that's how I found Chromeo, was through, I think it was Byte TV like 20 years ago, and just happened to have the channel on cable, and I was like, what are these guys? Found out that they were from Montreal, listened to them for a couple years. They came out with another album, and 97.3, the Wave, picked up the song. They came out with a tour. They started in their hometown of Montreal. I went to it. They had their moms and stuff there. And within the year, they were playing Coachella. They've played all like Red Rocks. They've got their own recording label now in Montreal. So I find there's a lot of support that happens in Montreal, so it's a great place to go and see a show. But God, I hate flying there.
I've only been in the Montreal airport.
That's bizarre, Cherise.
But I've never been to
shocked.
Montreal, like in Montreal.
You're going to love it. I lived there for a couple of years, so I love going back.
No, I've seen, and I have family there. I have cousins there, apparently. Well, I do have cousins there, but
apparently.
who I haven't
It's
seen.
the lost side of
might
Cherise's
still be
family.
there.
Yeah, well, cousin Matthew's cousins that I haven't met.
I think I follow Matthew on Twitter. Is that
Yes.
Yeah. I
Cousin
do.
Matthew. Yes,
Yeah.
he's amazing. But yeah, so his
We're gonna have to change his Twitter handle.
cousin
Sorry.
Matthew.
Cousin Matthew.
Cousin
Sister
Matthew.
Metzen. I like calling people like by sister names. Sister Wright, Sister Newberry. I think it's great. I think it's super baller.
Yeah. So anyway, so Montreal is a place I should go. But yeah, fuck Montreal Airport
Yeah, I mean
and everything it stands for.
Especially right now.
Oh,
But Jay, that's cool. That's
It was cool. I mean, one show that I was devastated that I missed was the National in Portland recently.
oh yeah.
Yeah, I would love to see the National.
Whenever I think of the National, I think of Kim Jacobson. She loves the National.
Well, she's super cool. So
Yeah,
they're one of my
is.
favorite bands too. You know, there was this era when I was working at Civilized and in the Creative Soup building, actually, where Kim Jacobson also worked, and I listened to the National every day when I was writing my little articles about vaporizers and
Oh my God,
my
that's
little
so funny.
reviews of various weed-related products and lifestyle stuff. So
How the times change, eh?
good day. What a good job.
It was actually that was an awesome job. It was a lot of fun. It was a cool time in my life. But sitting at Java Moose, listening to like "Don't Swallow the Cap" by the National, and trying to write like 700 words, you know, quick, fast.
Right, yeah. Yeah. Well, it was like new articles every day, right? Like it was
Oh
daily
man,
reads,
well
so it
that
was a
I
lot.
was so well that was before legalization, so I was you know, we didn't know what it was going to be or what things were going to turn into, so it was exciting, you know, trying to like anticipate the trends and all these new products we obviously could not get here at this time. We can't now though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. It's as someone who's kind of like late to it. I still don't remember if it is legal or not. You know, sometimes I'm just like, I can take this with me. What do you mean you can just buy it everywhere?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Flying with
I'm like, what do you mean every place around is now a dispensary? It's just like, it's very, but like 3-4 years ago, it wasn't legal yet.
And
So
it was a
is
writing job,
wild,
most importantly.
you know?
Like, it wasn't even about that. It was the fact that I was approached to work at this cool startup where it was a writing gig, and they would let me freelance. Like, I was working for Vice and the Telegraph Journal, and just writing for everywhere, it seemed. And I'd never been more busy, and I was also, like, still pretty struggling to just, you know, put food on the table and make ends meet. So, yeah, things have changed a little bit.
that's the trade-off.
Onward, right? Like for sure. Any concerts that are on your radar this year?
I don't know. Like, I kind of had this moment where I was talking to Peter Rowan, and he was like, you should come to LA and see Taylor Swift. And that seemed like an awesome idea till that whole Ticketmaster. Yeah. So that was
But
on
he
my
has
radar.
he has a few wins for some cool things down there, so he could just use
If
his
we can get us Tay tickets, we're
industry
going.
access.
He's super into Casey Musgrave and
Oh,
all this
yeah.
pop music, like
Yeah.
Taylor Swift and stuff, which is shocking to me because it doesn't seem consistent with his personality. But, you know, I've kind of accepted that about him at this point.
I'm
I
in
think
my
their
Swiftie era.
production and their crew and everything is kind of stepping up how bands like Zeppelin, AC/DC and stuff used to have crews. So I think like there's a big part of that on the industry side that's kind of attractive. Like, I don't know. I love watching those videos, like how things are produced at concerts and like the timing of the lights and I love that stuff.
There
So-
was a time in my life where I would have been like, "Oh my God, that's so it's cringeworthy to be excited about a new Taylor Swift album," and would have felt some sort of like, I should say something cooler, you know what I mean, than that. But I've come to a point where I'm like, damn, I love it, you know, and I can just
Yeah.
enjoy it unironically. And
Absolutely.
I'm so glad. It's very freeing. I think that comes when you're in your 30s.
It's so true.
Yeah.
It was funny on my Spotify Wrapped. Taylor Swift beat out Bob Dylan. And
Ooh, that's weird for you. Isn't
that was
it?
very weird
Yeah.
because he's
That's
usually
why you
number
didn't
one.
share it this year. I'm just joking. You probably
No, I did share it. Yeah,
I was just being.
I
funny.
did, but,
I was just being a jabby
That's why I
jab.
didn't share mine.
A
I'm
jabby
like, I don't
choice.
care. I'm past it all, but I literally didn't share
Don't
mine.
be a
Yeah.
jabby Joyce, guys.
Well, I think it's like, you know, I have this belief, and I've said this on the show before, like music finds you when you need to. And like, I wasn't, you know, before I wasn't a huge, like, and I'm still not a huge fan of Taylor Swift's like early stuff. It's not my cup of tea, but appreciate her as a songwriter. And then I think it was like when she dropped Taylor's version of Red and the 10-minute version of All Too Well, and I listened to it, and I was like, I think there's an episode where I ranted about it for 10 minutes straight.
I
and
do remember that.
Who has not been discarded and forgotten by
no,
someone?
and I was just
Yeah.
like, this makes me mad at an ex-boyfriend I don't even have. Like, this is so good. And then I started, you know, I was like, oh, I'm going to folklore. And then when I bought that on vinyl, and then when Midnights came out, I listened to it and I was like, oh, okay. And then I listened to it again, and it just grew on me, and I bought the vinyl as well.
It really grew on me too. I remember listening to it and going, this kind of reminds me of like early pop, you know, Taylor. But then I realized there's more depth to it than that.
Yeah, no, for sure. I really appreciate like her as a songwriter. 100, like her lyrics are like super phenomenal, I think. A lot of them anyways.
Ooh, I have some tea.
What's some tea?
Isn't there a button for tea?
Hold on, guys.
We reprogrammed the soundboard.
I'm like, where did it go? Hold on. Here we go.
Please stand by.
Please stand by while we
pour the tea.
Please proceed.
Thank you. So here's my tea. One show that's on my radar for this year is I happened to see B.A. Johnson's bookings. On Twitter. He tweeted out some shows. One of them is at Haven, and that is the first show at Haven that I have seen on a list of an artist's tour.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah, that is tea.
So B.A. Johnson is going to play Haven in April, which is public. So sorry, Abby and Sid, if you weren't.
Public information.
They're not booking. And I immediately texted Abby and was like, oh my God, you guys are booking. We're like, no, we're not. But B.A. is the only artist that books like 11 months in advance.
Yeah, fair.
So
yeah. Give him a date, guys.
So he's coming.
Give him a date.
Put him on the show.
Oh, we've had him on the show before.
My God, you've had 129 episodes. Like, who have you not had on the show other than
a lot of people? But
if you know someone,
still now.
Let us know. We love talking to people on the show. It's great.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's on my radar for April for sure.
Nice. Yeah. No, that's good.
He played my sister's driveway in rural Nova Scotia,
I love it.
And it was everything.
Awesome. Yeah, I can only imagine. I've seen a couple of people do that, and I think that's such a fun idea. And not even because of the pandemic, just because it's something I would rather do anyways. I don't want to like go to Peppers and get beer spilled all over me anymore. So I'm just not over. I'm kind of done with it. I'll go to Haven. Absolutely, I'll go. I'm just saying sometimes having a little driveway session with some grilled cheeses wouldn't be too bad.
There's a place for Peppers. Usually it's a dinner place.
Yes.
When I want some Brussels sprouts fried and delicious spices.
Oh, good food.
Yeah, I haven't been there for a long time.
Yeah, but there was like an LCD sound system cover show there that live in memory forever.
Yeah,
like
there's
there's a touring cover band LCD sound system that I remember going there and dancing to and having some fun. But it's been a while.
I think an entire student loan went to Peppers. Porn star shots.
Oh my gosh! Remember Power Hour at Granin's?
I do remember Power Hour at
2 for $1 whiskey sours. That was my jam.
Wow. It's a good jam. It could be worse.
Yeah, it could have been. Yeah. Now I'm like, it's 7 p.m. I'm not going to go out. Sorry, Kate.
I feel like I'm going to die these days if I have to do more than one thing in a day. So, you know.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Remember? And like, I always think back in the days we were going to shows like, 2 nights in a row, 3 nights in a row. And I'm like, how did I do that? Oh, youth.
Youth. Yeah. Well, in talking about like, the past, the present, the future, and all those things, like, one of the things that I always, like I said, thought of you, and like in very high regard, was how much you would elevate things going on. And not because it was your job, because you just genuinely cared about cool people doing cool things. And even if they weren't cool right away, you were still able to inform people what was going on and what the space was, that it was safe or if it was accessible. And I think that goes a long way when people need like a trusted ally in the community. And, whether it's Taco Pica or like the Deep End or Panic Room or Haven. For me, like we talk about this a lot on the show, like Linda Pelche is one of my great friends now in life, but I remember being 14 and 15 and she would let me into Studio 112 and she'd be like, as long as Linda's not out back and as long as the liquor inspector doesn't come in, you're good. Cause I wouldn't drink. I wouldn't cause any riffraff. I'd really just want to go in and give the band my $5 or $7 and then I would leave. Right. Or she would let me watch it in the window. But she was like that with so many people. And all those people like now, like Jill Langtang, Shelley, like all those people are now like my great friends growing like up now. And it's interesting, like seeing Shelley work at Imperial Theater, seeing like Jill when she visits us, going to Rockfest. Like music really does follow you around. And every time that I've seen you like out and about, it just kind of, it's cheesy to say it, but it's like, it is kind of heartwarming. Cause you haven't stopped. You've kept your punk roots very punk rock, and I love that about you.
I love that you see that, because I don't feel very punk rock, but
I think you're very punk rock, honestly.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that, because I think that ethos, of making something out of nothing and not being afraid of anyone and kind of just embracing all types of people, even if they are scary to other people. I think that has served me so well in my life. Actually, some of the best lessons that I have learned about talking to people and meeting people where they're at came from the punk scene, 100%.
Yeah,
you know?
I could see that. Yeah,
because people just show up. You're hanging out in King Square, and they could be someone that you have never seen before, who it looks really different from you, or who is a different age, or they're coming through town and they're totally like a new face, and you learn to talk to everybody.
That's
and get along and find common ground. Sometimes it's music. Often it's music, actually.
I used to love that saying too, like, you know, pick the people up in the pit and in life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like, you know, be good to those like kind of around you, especially like in the scene, because everybody else is, you know, likely still working full-time jobs to make those things even possible. And if you do make it, I mean, great. But most of the time there's still other things, you know, healthcare, family, all those things. I think everybody's just a bill away from having really bad luck. You know what I mean? Like, unless you have, you know, a credit card or something to fall back on, most people are one payment away from missing rent or not being able to buy groceries. So I think it's really important to be legit. So a lot of bands, when I'm doing like marketing plans and stuff for bands and stuff, they'll say like, what should we do? And I'll say, don't just say like new things coming, or like, oh my God, teaser coming soon. Like, actually just get on and talk about like why the fuck you're making an album, or what it means to you, or about how your parents influenced you growing up and how it's reflected on the album. Because I would, it's not about people buying what you have or what you offer or listening to what you do. They listen and they buy and they do those things because of you and how you communicate them, right? And I've always felt like, you know, people in like that in the scene are very capable of having dual personalities in both business and in music, right? It's almost like you've got like a two-face going on, because you can be listening to metal and then pop, and then you could be talking, you know, to Peter like for your work, and then talking about harm reduction on literally the next segment. So it's really hard on your brain and on your heart, but luckily the scene tends to, you know, keep things balanced a little bit more, and they always are there as a pillar to bounce things off of. I don't know if you guys can relate to that, but
I don't know. I think people respond to authenticity.
Yeah.
You know, so if you're a band and you're posting things coming, like teasers next in the coming months or whatever, just because that's what other people do when they release their albums, and you've seen other people that you think are cool do that, it's not your, you know, authentic voice.
Yeah.
I think that it's always better to legit put yourself out there, put your creative vision or whatever inspired you out there on the line, even if it's embarrassing and stupid, because that is better than some. And
you've always done that to me, like bullshit. with your zine, with your photography, with like all of the hobbies you've ever done. You never half-ass it. You always go full hard into it. And then you're able to articulate every aspect of it. Like, so that's why like I was excited to have you on the show. And again, you're a friend, but also because I know that you can articulate about music and about lived experiences very well, and people wanted to hear that part of it from you. What would you like to know, Kate? What questions do you have written down? Pick one. I know Charisse has one about strange sounds.
Yes. I guess I know we're conscious of time because it's almost
bedtime.
I know you might. Well, actually, you said you didn't need to get up early tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm doing something a little different tomorrow, so I have a little time. But
okay.
Yeah.
Well, the question, strange solitary sounds, which I was very nice and gave you a heads up on before. But 3 records that you'd bring to a desert island, and why?
I mean, you did give me a heads up, but it's still that's a hard question. It's a difficult one, but up there would be probably "Meat Is Murder" by the Smiths, because that is an iconic album with so many bangers on it. I know Morrissey has kind of morphed into something that none of us recognize, but that album still stands up as an absolutely perfect one to me. Most of my picks would be 80s, I think, because that's just what makes me happy. I love the Talking Heads. I think that would be something by the Talking Heads would have to be on there. And an album that I've listened to over and over, Muramasa. Do you guys know Muramasa? He's another UK kind of electronic artist. There was a summer where I think I only listened to him. So, I mean, those would be the 3 that come to mind.
Oh, that's fun. I love learning new music.
Yeah,
it never happens. It's so rare.
Okay.
It's so rare.
You guys some stuff, I guess.
I'm just like, yay. I'm like, that's so exciting.
Awesome. Appreciate that.
Yeah. I'm so glad that I finally got to be here with you guys.
I
And
know,
you pump my
thank you so much.
tires so much. Oh
No,
my God.
you're always welcome to come on the show. Our studio is your studio. Come on in anytime. You can have
Like
us
I said,
on your
it's
show
way
anytime.
nicer than mine. So
I wouldn't say
We
that.
did appreciate you having us on, by the way, in the new year.
you
We're
guys
so
did such a
honored.
killer job. Like
Aw.
you're so organized, and you come in and you're on time and you're there. No, you guys are like pros. So
We
it's a
try.
pleasure.
We tried a little bit, like when we went to record, like before, like our, like the songs, like the talks, like we're just like, I will do this, and we're like, okay, like there wasn't a whole lot of planning, but we've been doing this for so long that we're so good at like feeding off each other now, or like kind of thinking what the other's thinking, and
The more prepared we are, the worse it seems to go, and not
Yeah.
in a bad way, but it's almost just like
It's true.
it's like this if you were in your body, whereas if we don't prepare, it's very like, what's up, hey, right?
I wish I could do more of a loose form like this. Like it's a totally different format with my show because we have cut-ins with national news and everything's timed out to the minute, so it's actually relaxing.
Well, I
chill
don't
here.
ever want to
Chill
add
here on the
more to
stool
your plate, but
in my
you're
running
welcome
clothes.
to come and be a host anytime and chat to anybody that we have on the show anytime. We've got 4 mics, only 3 here, but 4 we actually have 5.
Oh wow, yes we do, don't we?
So you're always welcome. We always record on Wednesdays. We will be recording with Corey Bonnevie about the new Dr. Mother Father album coming out in the next couple weeks.
Ooh, fun.
So that'll
That's
be
gonna be
exciting.
really
The
good.
vinyl looks amazing.
We'll be recording
Haven't
with
seen it,
The
but I'm
Leftovers, Brock Georgie's new band.
Oh,
So they'll
I used
be-
to work with him at Civilized. It comes full circle.
I just did his website and the album art, and they just put their new album out. So they just did their album release show at the Cap this past weekend. So we'll be interviewing them soon. So yeah, it's really cool to see like, you know, folks that I've done work with like professionally, and then they're now like thriving, and now they're able to actually have hobbies and put out creative things for their own instead of other companies. And it's really nice to see. So yeah, some really kind of fun interviews coming up over the next few weeks, couple months. So you're always welcome to come.
Can't wait. Thanks, guys.
Well, thank you
saying.
everyone for listening.
And before we go, we have to say one last thank you to the people who make our show. Are you
Yes.
ready for it?
Do we have it? Oh, we're doing them at the end.
We're doing them at the end this time. Make you wait. Are you ready? Are you ready for it, guys? Thank you, Cousin Matthew. Cousin Matt Letson.
Cousin Matthew Letson.
Thank you so much for your Patreon dollars.
Moral support.
One of the things that we've decided to do in the new year is rather than call you patrons, you are now producers of the show.
That's
So
new.
with as little as $2 a month, you can be producers of our show, right? So who else do we got? We have Michael Hawkins, aka DJ Hawk.
One of
Thank
the
you so
OGs.
much for being a producer of our show this week. Colin Walshoots, one of our OG supporters.
Yes.
Thank you so much for your producing. We love all of your stuff. If you haven't seen some of Colin's shows, make sure you go to his site. He's got all the most like live shows.
Maritime Tapers.
Maritime Tapers, yep. James Mullinger, thank you so much for your patronage.
Corey McGill of McGill's. We love you.
We love you so much. McGill's rocks. Plus, it's Poutine week next week, so get down there.
Sick. It'll maybe this week, depending when this comes out, but check. Chuck Healy, our old trivia partner.
Main trivia partner. We miss you, Chuck. We hope to see you soon. Mary Roach.
Yes, one of my oldest friends. She's amazing. Thank you for supporting
Glenn
everything
Hicks
you do.
of U Station. Thank you so much. We would not be recording with what we have here today without Glenn and the folks at U Station. So thank you. And also thank you for giving us peace of mind, a safe and accessible and internet actually working and warm place to work when we need to get out of our apartments.
Hell
Much
yeah.
appreciated. Brent Harris at the St. John Tool Library.
Brennan Parker,
Jennifer Irving.
Greg Hemmings,
And our newest Patreon and our newest producer of the
Yes.
show, John Adam Ian. Thank you so much for your help in producing the show this week, guys. We really do appreciate it. Couldn't do it without you, obviously. And we hope that you enjoyed this week's episode. And we'll see you next week.
until next time,
Keep it
it's strange.